Hey everyone, this is Steve Weintraub with Collider, and I'm here at our studio at Sundance, sponsored by Rendezvous Capital. Huge thank you to them for letting us support indie cinema. I also want to give a shout out to, we're supporting LA Wildfire Relief Live, which is raising money for all the people that are really suffering in California from the wildfires. If you have any ability to donate, we would so appreciate it. And you can go to lawildfirerelief.live to help out. Thank you so much. And thank you again to Rendezvous for allowing me to talk about your film. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. I really want to say congratulations. I was in this movie, hook, line, and sinker. And I have so many things I want to talk about, but everyone watching won't have seen it yet. So how have you been describing it to friends and family?
Well, it's a film called Peter Hujar's Day. It's based on a conversation that took place in 1974 between the photographer Peter Hujar and his friend Linda Rosenkrantz. The conversation was taped. The audio was lost, but there was a transcription of the dialogue between these two friends that was found 50 years after it occurred in the Morgan Library and published as a book called Peter Hujar's Day. I read the book and I thought, let's make a movie of these two friends talking.
For the two of you, I know you are both offered a number of scripts. So what was it about this one that said, oh, I need to be a part of this?
It's so unlike any other film I've read. And that was exciting. And I wanted to work with Ira again. And I love Peter Hujar and I love Rebecca. So it was just like many wonderful things all coming together.
Same. I mean, it really was. I mean, also, it is a real peculiarity of a film. It feels like a film that, you know, we talk about how hard it is to find spaces to make films that are innovative or different or push the boat in any way. And when a script like this arrives and it's doing that, you think, well, how are you gonna make this material, this, when nothing, it's sort of anti-drama, nothing happens. In fact, everything that has happened somewhere else. And instead you're being asked to make the art and draw the conclusions and see the friendship from just presenting the discussion of how they live. And also it's about people that we know about. Well, and Peter Hujar, not necessarily so much Linda, but it's, you know, there is that sense of a time capsule of a moment in New York, but also it's not. It's like any time capsule. It feels like just the recounting of the things that happen in the day is the time capsule, wanting to have a time capsule of that moment. And then we want to have the time capsule of this art. And then we're also left with this feeling of like, we can't hold on to anything. And that's why we have film, actually, so we can hold on to something.
Very eloquent and true. One of the things about it was I really did feel like I'd been transported back in time to two people in an apartment just talking. But one of the things that struck me was just how good the set deck was and the minimalist nature of like her apartment and just how unmaterialistic people, I guess, were, you know, or especially in New York City, but started to talk about like, because you do feel like you're transported when you're watching. So talk a little bit about accomplishing that and, you know, making the audience feel.
Yeah. You know, in a way, I try to think of period films as being made in the present. So I don't think of it so much as the past. So you want to get as much detail as you can into it. And I think the text also brings a kind of authentic detail of time because it's of that time. I worked with Stephen Phelps, who's a great production designer. He had Honora also this year. And he had an empty box of an apartment. So everything is built or painted or just brought in. So there was nothing there. That being said, the space is on the top floor of Westbeth, which is an artist housing in New York City that's been around since 1971. And I think we channeled something about Westbeth and what it is to be an artist in New York. So you hope for things that are evocative. It's like Passages in some ways. Like Passages is an unrealistic film, but it feels realistic, but you aren't avoiding things that actually kind of make a mark. So like, what is the piece of furniture? What is the couch? What is the rug? What is the bedspread? Each of these things make their own mark.
Ben, I am truly a really big fan of your work. And this project particularly, I believe you have like 55 of the 58 pages is like you talking. So what the hell is it like for you, like in the weeks leading up to filming? Like, please tell me about like what your process is to learn all of this dialogue and to enter that headspace. So when you step on set on that Monday, you're able to become this other character.
Yeah, I just had to, it was just work. You just have to put your head down and learn it. But I found it such a fascinating task because precisely because it's not written, because it's actually someone's words with all of the kind of oddity and, inarticulacy, but also articulacy and peculiar details and strange rhythms and repetitions and blah, blah, blah. So it was like it was so rich, and I had to find a way for it to stay in my head. So I had to sort of find patterns within it, and little marks that would cement it into my brain. And I found that whole thing actually very interesting, and I would just sort of carry it everywhere with me, and if I was in a restaurant I'd get it out and I'd just add another few lines in, and then I'd put it away and like that.
What's interesting as you describe it, I realize it's something you did solo, like Hujar with the photographs. Like this was something you did alone. I didn't help him in any way except hand it to him, and then there was this task. So it's just interesting how it was an artistic isolated action.
Yeah, it was nice.
One of the other things about the film, in their conversation, they're talking about a New York City that is just long gone, and the Lower East Side, and the way artists could survive on almost no money. There's no place in New York City you can do no money now. And so could you sort of talk about like that period and what you learned about that period that like surprised you or you romanticized, because it's just an era that's gone?
Well, I think that's very true, and I think all artists' lives are sort of formed by their relationship to economy. Like that's true with every artist of any sort. But I think specifically what I notice in the text and the conversation is in the course of one day, Hujar has like 5 or 6 people stop by his house unannounced, knocking on the door and having some interaction and taking a shower, eating pizza, or like coming by for a negative. So there's this physicality that we don't have so much anymore. And he's on the telephone with like 7 other friends. And I feel like that was just normal daily life. And I think I think to be aware of that is not to be nostalgic, but to understand what we've lost and maybe how we make up for that in some way. I think about like, we also lost the Cedar Tavern, a place where people would spend time together, not once every 6 months, but once every couple of days. And I think for artists, that really was meaningful along with the drinking.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I was really interested in what Ira was saying, because I do think the sense of community amongst artists is important. And yes, I moved to New York City a long time ago now, and I always had a kind of romantic notion of it that was sort of built off of that time period. And I have fascinations with many artists, filmmakers, otherwise conceptual artists from that period, musicians, and it's different. I don't know how it's sustained. I don't know where they are.
If that's something you grew up with in your father and your mother's life, do you feel like you grew up with a physical community of artists? And is there a desire to return?
I think yes. I think with my father, yes, because he was working in theatre, and I think theatre people do still have that. I mean, it's different, it's disparate, but I think the sort of act of rehearsal and the act of kind of like coming together and working on something without the performance piece yet for like a month or something fosters that sort of community. So there are always those people around, but I don't. Not really with my mother so much. I don't know. It's an interesting question. I don't know. I think I sort of picked this as sort of the New York of that world, and that kind of idea of being an artist was very much something that I became enamored with for whatever reason.
You guys shot, I believe, on 16 millimeter.
Correct.
So what was it about that format that made you say, we're going to do 16?
Well, I would always shoot on film if I could, or if I have the economic possibility, because of actually just the quality of the image. Not that it's a retro image, but it's an image which captures light in a very beautiful way. And there's something about its humanity. I guess that's why it chose.
One of the things, the movie is, I could be wrong about this, 75 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things is, was there any sort of, I'm just curious, like, how do we get it to 90 minutes? Was there like a producer saying, you know what I mean? Or was it sort of like, this is the art and it's going to be this length?
Yeah. Set the latter.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like,
well, I don't think, I think once you're, the film was going to be whatever it should and could sustain. And I think that was something I was trying to discover was, I like to make an entertaining movie. And this film, in a surprising way, doesn't push the questions of duration. Like, it's not a durational film in which you're actually forced to like sit in things. It's an action film.
It's interesting you call it an action film. I think of some of the work that they've done that I would qualify more as action, but if you want, I'll say it's an action film if you want me to.
But you're right, Ira, that it's not an
philosophically, it is.
It's not a durational film. It's not like you're asking us to feel like we've sat through those hours with them. It feels poetic more than that.
And it's a film that's paced on movement.
Yeah.
Actually.
Well, that actually leads me to my next
Right.
thing. You have I didn't read the text, so I don't know if that was all recorded on like a couch one day. But the film that you have made, you have other locations where they're on the roof there, and you're breaking the wall, if you will, especially the way the movie starts. I don't know if you want to tell people about that, but where and when did you decide I can go to a different location, or I want to move the camera, and you know what I mean?
Well, two things. One, I would say in the middle of the night, I discovered that I could do that. I woke up with a series of images that suddenly seemed to say, this is the film. And I say that because I was very concerned. Could I jump? Could I make those leaps? Could there be ellipses of time and space? And I kept doubting it. And then in the middle of the night, I woke up and I was like, I can do that. And I would say part of that came out of watching films made around in the time, which were very personal films that were done in single locations with individuals. Films like Andy Warhol's Poor Little Rich Girl that he makes with Edie Sedgwick. Films like A Portrait of Jason that were made in the Chelsea Hotel and overnight. A wonderful film by Jim McBride called My Girlfriend's Wedding. These are films that were a camera, person, space, but also cuts. Cuts are being used. So that was really, gave me freedom or trust or permission.
I read that there were no rehearsals on this.
Correct.
And so I'm curious, Ben, for everyone, what do you enjoy not rehearsing, or do you want rehearsal? And what was the benefit of not rehearsing for this?
Well, Ira never rehearses. It's not what you want to do, but you do end up. It's not like you still have to find it. It's not like I mean, and that was limited somewhat because we were working with film, but it's still a process, I suppose. It's just that you're starting to shoot it rather than rehearsing to nothing. Yeah,
I think in a way the text is about, or the experience of the film of this text is really about understanding what is precious in the moment, in this moment or any moment. And for me, what a camera does is record a moment that should not be able to be reproduced, which doesn't mean that there isn't a process to get there. But it was a real risk. And I thought on day one, to be honest, that I'd made a mistake. Really, I don't know if I told you that.
no,
but,
you did tell us that.
you know,
You did tell us that because we reshot the first day. We were very aware of that.
because we had not rehearsed, and I thought that was really a great idea that was maybe a terrible one. But we found a way in order to prepare the text which didn't lose the fact that it would not, there's so many things in the movie that would never have happened if we'd rehearsed it. I mean, 1,000 in the movie, because there's just moments that are discovered between the two of them that has to do with the instant.
So one of the things is one of the characters in this movie is still alive. And so what was it like? Talk a little bit about what it was like talking to her, to Linda, and like, you know, what you gleaned from those conversations, and maybe, you know what I mean? Like, because it's a huge luxury.
Yes, it is. I've played quite a few like real people in my career, and not that many who are alive, and I could use as a resource. So it was interesting, but it also, you feel a responsibility regardless when you're playing someone who exists, whether they're alive or not. But I definitely felt a responsibility to do her a service, that not so much in doing a precise impression of her as just doing something that she would feel not embarrassed by, like, basically. Sure. And I think that it was helpful. I was able to talk to her. I didn't want to ask her things about that day or specific things in a way I wanted to not hem myself in, I guess. But I did want to get a feel for her. So we just talked. We talked about life, and then I asked, I would ask her to send me audio clips of some stuff, words and this and that. And I recorded a tiny weeny bit of one of our phone conversations as well, which had its own kind of meta irony, and so I had her voice with me, as it were.
I just was going to add that I think in a way, something happened between Rebecca and Linda, who we're going to meet in about 20 minutes for the first time. I mean, I've met her before, but Rebecca has
I've
never
only
met
ever
her
spoken
in
to her on the
person.
phone.
Has she seen the film yet?
She loves the film. She's very happy. But that happens almost the same way that, like, I put the two actors together, they go out and spend time together, but I really don't want to be the third wheel. And I think in a way, something happened between you and Linda that was very significant, and that you bring to the film that I was not witness to.
Yeah, I can't really tell you what it was. We just sort of,
You connected in the film.
We connected, and that's really what it takes. Is like a lot of acting is just acting off of that kind of connection.
I'm almost out of time because we have to close the studio for a party that's coming in, if I'm being honest. Nothing to do with us. But I do have an individual question for each of you. I am a big James L. Brooks fan. He has not made a movie in 14, 15 years. And you are in Ella McKay.
I am.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what the hell was it like being with James L. Brooks? What can you say about the movie?
It was really dreamy. I'm a big fan of his. Broadcast News is a film that has been with me for a long time, that I love and enjoy for many reasons, as well as many of his other films. And yeah, it was a real trip. It was sort of everything I wanted it to be. I had a great time. Great other actors as well. Woody Harrelson, Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, I had, and Emma Mackey is fantastic, and I had a really good time.
Christine is like the antithesis of broadcast news.
It is.
Right? It's like the inverse of broadcast news.
No, it is. It's like the opposite on a color wheel, yeah.
What can you say about the character you play, what it's about? I'm not sure how much is known.
I'm not either, so you've blindsided me, and I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to say at this point.
That won't get you in trouble. I'll just say you had a good time.
Yeah. Let's leave it at that.
Oh, that's fine. Ben, I watched all of Black Doves. It's a fun TV series on Netflix. What can you say about season 2?
It hasn't been written, so I actually can say nothing. I know nothing about it. That's boring, isn't it? You're not interested in that. It's a bad answer. No, but it's the truth.
But that's the thing. I think for fans of the show, they'd rather know. Okay, it's not written yet, but
it's not written.
Yeah,
because it's 7 months away or something
before
we shoot it.
I guess my question is: were you surprised because it was a big hit for Netflix? Were you surprised when you were making it? Did you realize, this might be something?
No, honestly, no, because actually, it wasn't very written when we did the first season. So I was quite terrified because there were not really scripts. There were scripts, but they were not. It was a bit big. It is often the way, but this was particularly sailing close to the wire. Is that the expression?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yes, but so somehow it came together.
Do you know what else you're filming this year? Actually, this is for both of you.
I think we might. Well.
Oh, I like this. This is good.
Yeah, we're going to make a film.
We're going to make a film.
Now we're talking.
Together.
Right. This year.
This year?
Yeah.
Do you have? Have you written it yet?
Yeah. Unlike these things, we actually do write a script. These things that they make on for other forms of media.
I have to do a follow-up.
Yeah.
Can you tell the title or no?
It's called The Man I Love.
You want to tell anyone what it's about?
It's a film set in the late 80s in New York City.
Okay, everything I'm hearing is good.
Okay, good.
Right. I want to keep pressuring down, but do you know when you're filming?
Well, we have to shoot before Black Doves.
Exactly.
The summer. We're going to do it in the summer.
Okay, well, I'm going to follow up with this after. I won't pressure you anymore. What are you possibly filming this year?
I'm working on I've just wrapped on an Adam Wingard's film that he's made. That's a kind of thriller thing that he's made. That's not Godzilla Kong.
I know what this is. I saw pictures that Oren shot this.
Yeah,
I saw pictures.
And I'm probably not allowed to talk about it yet because it hasn't been announced. Whoops! It's being announced tomorrow. I forgot. I got my days mixed up. Yeah, it's not. And then I'm also working on this Ryan Murphy TV show called The Beauty.
Oh, I've heard about that.
And I am. What else am I doing? I'm doing other things. I can't remember. There's other things going on. There's a lot going on. I'm angling for a walk-on part in this movie, but I don't know.
What about
next film?
I was going to say, what about directing again?
I'm hoping to do that. I don't know when that's coming together yet, but I'm still working on it. Yeah.
Do you have a script that you're?
Oh yeah, I have 3 scripts I'm trying to get made. Ira's read it. Yeah.
Incredible script. It's so great and beautiful. Sorry.
Well, that's good
Thank
praise.
Yeah.
I definitely want to ask you one other thing. Are you the type
is it about Cloud Atlas?
No, but okay. Let's just do this.
No,
one.
I don't.
Let's actually bring this up. Do we all want to agree that it's a masterpiece? Because I feel it's a masterpiece. Have we all watched it?
I haven't watched it.
You have not watched Cloud Atlas? So the first 10 minutes is a little dense, and you need to sort of get through it because it's setting up a lot of storylines, but it's fucking incredible.
Oh, great.
That's my review.
We're going to go watch it this weekend.
You've really not seen it either?
No.
Ben, these are not your friends. Oh. What happened?
I didn't even know you were in it.
I'm in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm in it.
Well, I love Lily.
He plays more than one role.
It is actually a quite wonderful film.
It is incredible.
It's so unusual.
Yes, it's really incredible. And you're friends with Lily.
Yes, I work with Lily in an organization called Queer Art. Lily has become a regular
calling them out.
Mentorship. She's a mentor for Queer Art Mentorship, which is a program I started. So she's
can I ask
amazing.
you a favor?
Yes.
After Sundance, give me your word you're going to want to watch it.
I give you my word.
Okay.
Absolutely. I feel ashamed I haven't.
No, I mean, listen, by the way, there's a million movies and there's I'm teasing you guys. There's a million things to watch.
I've never seen Jean Dielman.
Yeah, but that's okay. But Cloud Atlas is not.
Not to people who...
Oh, my.
I'm just fucking with you. I'm teasing.
I'm fucking back with you.
I know, totally. But so I am a fan of your work. Are you the type of person
Good,
that actually has a lot of scripts in the desk? Or do you finish something and then start writing the next?
I do that in general, but this thing that we're going to make this summer, I've been working on for a couple of years and then kind of made Peter Hujar in the middle of that.
Listen, I could ask you guys seriously so many other questions, but there really is a party coming in.
Yeah,
We're leaving.
but we're out of here.
I really want to say sincerely, congrats.
Thank you so much.
And I really hope you guys have a great Sundance and enjoy meeting Linda. That's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. That was fun.
So much.